Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're working in water treatment, food processing, or honestly any facility where getting liquid chemical application exactly right is absolutely critical, well, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're diving deep into the exact formulas, the machinery, and the everyday procedures you need to completely master chemical dosing.
So let's just jump right in and ask the ultimate high-stakes question that every single water treatment operator faces every single day. How do you ensure every single drop of water is actually safe? Well, the answer, it lies entirely in the precise math and the raw mechanics of your chemical dosing pumps.
To get us there, we are going to follow a pretty straightforward workflow today. First, why accurate dosing matters. Then, the math behind the magic. Third, calculating your flow rate. After that, choosing the right pump. And finally, avoiding common dosing mistakes.
All right, part one, why accurate dosing matters.
Operators walk this crazy tightrope every single day. If you miss the mark low, bacteria survive and people can get seriously sick. But if you miss it high, boom, the phones are ringing off the hook with customer complaints about chemical tastes and weird odors. So accurate dosing isn't just about saving on chemical costs, though let's be real, it definitely does that. It is absolutely crucial for health, safety, and keeping your whole system totally stable.
But right before we even think about calculating our targets, we've got to talk about chlorine demand. This is basically an invisible thief that eats away at your chemical before it can even do its job. Stuff naturally in the water, like iron, manganese, or even just organic matter like leaves, they just consume that chlorine. If you don't calculate this baseline demand and add it to your total, you literally won't have enough residual concentration to actually disinfect the water.
Moving on to part two, the math behind the magic.
Okay, here is the biggest gotcha moment I see out in the field. People confusing the strength of the product sitting in their jug with the active chemical their water actually needs. Like, let's say your system needs 10 parts per million of active chlorine, right? But your jug of sodium hypochlorite is only a 5% solution. Guys, those are two totally different numbers. You absolutely have to calculate your active ingredient dosage first and then adjust for your product concentration.
So how do we find that primary dosage? Just follow these 4 super simple steps. Step 1, identify your water flow in cubic meters per hour. Step 2, figure out your target concentration in milligrams per liter. Step 3, just multiply those two together. And step 4, divide that whole thing by 1,000. Boom, that gives you your exact required flow rate in milliliters per minute. This right here is the universal foundation for sizing your entire system.
Now, if your facility runs on gallons per minute, don't worry, this California Water Board formula is going to be your best friend. It actually directly incorporates your sodium hypochlorite solution percentage right there into the denominator. So this lets you find your exact feed pump rate using just your desired dosage, your flow in GPM, and a standard conversion factor. Super handy.
The really crucial point here is that after you run all these numbers, say for a standard 10 cubic meter per hour system needing 5 milligrams per liter of pure chemical, you get this nice, clean, actionable target. Something like 0.05 milliliters per minute. Once you have that, you just divide by your solution percentage, and you get the final volume of the actual product you need to pump out.
All right, part three, calculating your flow rate. Let's ground this in physical reality for a second. The Virginia Department of Health recommends this awesome, incredibly practical 5-gallon bucket test as a totally foolproof way to measure your baseline well pump rate. It is just elegantly simple. You run the water, use a stopwatch to time exactly how long it takes to fill a calibrated 5-gallon bucket, and then just do the division. This makes sure that the very first variable in all of your math is actually based in reality, not just a guess.
So if we take that baseline measurement from the bucket test and apply the math, adjusting for, say, a 0.7% solution, completely transforms your real-world feed rate requirement to 25 milliliters per minute. And just for context, this specific calculation is factoring in a 1.3 milligram per liter target dose alongside a 35-gallon per minute water flow rate. Now keep in mind, your target baseline shifts massively depending on what exactly you're trying to achieve. Disinfecting with chlorine, that usually requires about 1 to 10 milligrams per liter. But if you're settling sludge with coagulants like PAC, which is polyaluminum chloride, or using PAM as a flocculant, those targets shift drastically. We're talking jumping all the way up to 200 milligrams per liter. So always verify your specific targets, but these ranges right here give you a really great conceptual benchmark.
Which brings us to part 4, choosing the right pump.
Okay,
Grounding all of our math back into the real world, here is what a typical setup actually looks like. You've got a chemical dosing pump drawing directly from a solution tank. It's relying on a driving mechanism and a control system to pull the liquid from the container right into your line. But, and this is important, the core technology inside that pump, it can vary wildly.
Yeah, not all pumps are created equal. You have to match the machinery to the viscosity of your fluid and the exact level of precision you need. Piston pumps, they give you high pressure and exact precision. Diaphragm pumps are kind of the all-rounders, super versatile, and they handle corrosive chemicals beautifully. Peristaltic pumps use flexible hoses, making them fantastic for really thick, viscous liquids. And gear pumps, those are your go-to for smooth, high-flow situations.
Here is a huge pro tip. Never, ever buy a pump rated exactly for your calculated flow. Apply a 1.2 times safety multiplier to ensure you aren't just maxing out that motor day in and day out. Plus, you really want to make sure your regular everyday operation sits somewhere between 30 and 80% of the pump's maximum capacity. If you drop below 30%, you get pulsation and control errors, but if you push it above 80% constantly, you're just stressing out the seals.
And that leads us perfectly into Part 5, avoiding common dosing mistakes.
You've got to constantly consult your pump's performance curve, guys. Why? Because high back pressure from the water system will absolutely severely reduce your actual chemical output. Think about it. A pump rated for 10 liters per hour at zero pressure might only deliver, say, 6 liters per hour when it's pushing against a 5-bar system. Overlooking this is pretty much a guaranteed one-way ticket to dangerous underdosing. Now, if you want to extend your pump's life by 3 to 5 years, and who doesn't, you need to stick to a strict maintenance schedule. Every month, inspect for leaks and weird noises. Every quarter, get in there and clean those strainers and check your connections. Semi-annually, inspect the seals and check valves. And finally, every single year, commit to doing a full seal kit replacement and a proper recalibration. I absolutely love this quote right here because it is just a simple truth. Taking a few minutes to clean some seals now is going to save you thousands of dollars and prevent critical nightmare facility downtime later. It really is the core philosophy of any reliable operator. So, as we wrap up, I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on, and honestly, I hope it inspires you to head out to your facility right now and run a quick bucket test. When was the last time you actually verified your dosing pump's calibration? Because as we've seen today, precision isn't an accident. It is completely calculated. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this helps you absolutely master your dosing systems.